Can I tell you something beautiful about the town that I grew up in? This is Joe Johnston. He is a man who is basically responsible for renovating downtown Gilbert, Arizona, which is like an agricultural town that has kind of popped off, right? So Joe came in and made this place called Joe's Real Barbecue, and it kind of reinvigorated downtown Gilbert and really changed the feeling of downtown. We had a couple places. There was Norwood Furniture and Champions Bar and a couple other little spots. Heritage Square opened up, I think, a few years before, or maybe after. I think Heritage Square was actually after Joe's Barbecue. My brother worked here as his first job as a teenager, and he was a vegetarian, which is so funny. He has his own stories about this place, but Joe has always been a pinnacle of human compassion, and even though my brother was vegetarian, he would say the same thing. And then I worked at Liberty Market when they first opened, and Joe and his wife are avid travelers, and they went to Italy, and Joe purchased I think it was like a $25,000 espresso machine or something. So he takes his coffee very seriously. When they first opened this place, they did tastings and sommelier courses and barista classes, and I really learned how to care very much about coffee here. The food is incredible. The chef at the time was amazing. I think one of the people who was a fellow barista is now a manager of Liberty or some of Joe's properties, or maybe just a restaurant manager in general, but Joe absolutely championed moving up within the ranks, and I wish I had been a little more mature emotionally, because I just kind of peaced out at one point. I was like, nah, I'm gonna go do something else, but I didn't really get the chance to explain to Joe how impactful his impact, not to be redundant, on Gilbert was to me, because I grew up there, so it was important. I just think he's great. What a cutie. And then he went on to open Agritopia, which is a community of like these really beautiful, super sweet, like almost 50s Pleasantville kind of homes, with a farm center and a coffee shop and a brewery and a pizza place and all these cool spots that you can just go and hang out, like a maker's market. It's awesome. He also did a lot of work to restore the water tower in Gilbert, Arizona, which Chandler, Arizona has now copied. They have their own water tower. How funny. But he preserved the original historic water tower because it was right behind Liberty Market. And it was so fun to like watch all this happen. A little anecdote is that the bathrooms in Liberty Market, which used to be like a general store, a market in Gilbert for the agricultural community, which is how this whole like section of Arizona started. The bathrooms are kind of amazing, which is a weird thing to say, but he kind of reinvigorated the idea of like a lounge bathroom, but they're private. I also had scooters for a little while I worked for him, and after, and in other states when I moved away, and he's really into Vespas. I think him and his wife are both. Oh, and I moved back to Arizona in 2019, like in the fall, and right before COVID, I was like, I'm gonna get a new job. Let's see what Joe Johnston has going on. And then everything like kind of shut down, right? I drove by Joe's Barbecue, Liberty Market, a couple places, and Joe had a truck out back quietly from a local food bank. He was donating stuff during the pandemic. Like, amazing. Love him. Quietly, he just does this. That's just normal for him. But that's the kind of fella and the kind of family that I really support as someone who grew up in Gilbert. I moved here I was in Arizona, but I moved to Gilbert in 1994. My family bought a horse rescue ranch, and Joe has just, he's really become a local celebrity, but he's so humble. Like, no one talks about it. Like, to the point where, like, Dierks Bentley put in a place, and now downtown Gilbert is, like, hopping. I think it's called Whiskey Row, Dierks's place. And then a bunch of other places followed suit. I think Norwood Furniture is still there, which is kind of great. I went there once for an ex's kids art show. Norwood is a community staple. But yeah, I just love that. I would love to be able to afford a place in Gilbert again at some point. It's kind of popped off as an unaffordable place to live now, but my mom still owns a ranch there, and I would love to be able to live there at some point in the future. And then there was this place called Farmhouse Restaurant, which Joe is not partner in, as far as I know. I don't think he's part owner at all. They were in an actual farmhouse a little bit more south of Guadalupe, on Gilbert Road, and they sold or were bought out. I don't know what happened, but they are now right next to Liberty Market, and they have the most amazing breakfast. Their marmalade, try it. Just try it. Just go and know that you're gonna need a nap afterward. Sorry, I'm getting excited. Anyway, Joe Johnston, local celeb. Check him out.